Marisa, you often hear actors say when they're gearing up to play an icon that it's like this blender of terror, of excitement and terror. Similar experience for you, like how exciting and also how terrifying was this to play Amy Winehouse?
Yeah, I mean, good question. Definitely a lot of both. You know, you sort of wake up in the middle of the night like, what am I doing? And also, this is so incredible. I mean, you have to remind yourself as an actor, like, this is why you're doing it, because you want to be able to tell stories that mean something to people and offer your voice to an authenticity and remind, you know, with our film, we wanted to remind audiences of like the great artist that was Amy Winehouse and what an honor that is as an actor to be able to be a part of that storytelling. But the truth is, when you're working and when you're in it, you know, I was in a very intense period of preparation. There's not much space for either excitement or terror. You're just working really, really hard, you know? So it kind of takes that like waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to feel anything. Because at the time, you're just in the zone.
Sam, in terms of like the public perception of Amy Winehouse, like I feel like we've seen phases. Like there was that when she was still with us, there was that heavy tabloid phase. There was the documentary phase, which I think had a much different tenor than this film. Do you think there were sort of like misconceptions out there about Amy that you guys really wanted to address with this film?
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much misconceptions as I felt like, you know, the tragedy was starting to eclipse the brilliance of her. And I felt like what we set out to do in a way was to sort of bring back the music and go into her perspective so she could sort of tell us the story through her music and songwriting. And it felt like, you know, the narrative of what I wanted to do was to really just go into who she was and the complexities of that, and not just the sort of the one-dimensional, you know, tabloid view of her. Or even, you know, the documentary was brilliant, but I felt like her life was sort of being, you know, picked apart to a place where, you know, let's return to the genius of who she was and just focus in on the music.
I love that, because yeah, it is so easy to look because of her the age that she died. Look at her story as a tragedy here, but this film really celebrates her legacy.
Yeah.
How would you guys say your perspective of her life or legacy changed spending so much time with her?
I think it was just a reminder, I guess, but a really intense period of exploration into an artist. You know, like Sam says, this is a young woman whose story has turned into something that has kind of gotten quite far from what she set out to create, which was to be an incredible jazz singer and a songwriter that would connect to millions of people. And she did that and beyond, you know, and she will for many, many, many generations, I think, to come. So I think it's sort of giving her kudos to her where she deserves it, really.
I just felt like, you know, creating this movie, I wanted people to come out of the theatre and just say, let's get home and play the music, because it sort of sheds a different light in a sense when you see it in a sort of narrative structure and you see the movie play out. You're like, oh, okay, you know, there's a different sense of what that song could mean, and I want to go home and re-listen to those lyrics. And I feel like by people coming out feeling like they want to listen to the music, it's sort of gifting it back to her and to the audience that loves her.